Okay, so my topic today is, actually I wanted to present a little bit about Meijong yoga, which is a very special, unique yoga practice, but I want to present it in a slightly larger context about pure lands and pure dimensions. Okay, so here's a quote from the Vimalakirti Sutra, and this is just one passage from a long description of the pure lands or the Buddha fields. It says, "A bodhisattva's Buddha field is a field of wisdom. When he attains enlightenment, living beings who are destined for the ultimate will be born in his Buddha field." So this is one of many passages that describes how when the bodhisattva attains enlightenment, his wisdom, his compassion, the four immeasurables, effort, discipline, how it manifests as a pure land. And then we as, the common concept is then we as ordinary beings, we can pray and hope to be reborn into these realms. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit how we as ordinary beings, now in the here and now, how we can get a little bit of a taste of these pure lands. We can access them through different levels, and then we can even begin through our actions to actually create little pure lands in this world. So we're not fully realized Buddhas, but we do all have Buddha nature, so we have that capacity to create environments which when people enter into these environments, they can experience a little glimpse of these pure dimensions. So I'm going to talk from 3 levels. So outer, we always talk in Vajrayana, outer, inner, secret. So the outer level, we're talking about physical geography, lands, like we're here in a place like Bhutan, it's like a pure land, just traveling here, we can experience, especially foreigners, we've traveled far, we come to these mountains and we can experience through travel. And then the inner access is through our physical bodies. Physical body, physical mind. We have all these doctors here who have talked about health and the importance of health. So when we have a healthy body, then we can also experience these pure lands. And then on the more secret level, we're talking with the subtle body. So subtle body, subtle energy, and subtle mind, the Vajra body that Dr. Nita talked about today. And this all works because we have this principle that this is really across cultures and time. We have this idea that this human body is a microcosm of the cosmos at large, the macrocosmos. So we are connected, our bodies are connected to the environments around us. And this you find in Taoist culture, in Buddhist Vajrayana culture, in Western culture, Hindu culture, really across times. We say, as it is above, so it is below, as it is externally, so it is internally. All these kind of phrases that you hear almost like a cliche, they're very much, the concept behind these principles. So physically, in the geography, we talk about, we could say travel. So you can read, Ian Baker's book or many books about entering the bayous, searching for the pure lands, and usually it's kind of challenging, right? It's not so easy. You have to work to find these places, and I think, again, especially for somebody like me, I grew up in New York City. I never had a lot of exposure to nature, exotic cultures. As soon as I was old enough to travel, I wanted to really travel and experience cultures, experience landscapes, and that helped to change my mind. When you travel to a place, like the other day, we took a very long hike through a waterfall. It was a little bit dangerous, a little bit scary, and when you get there, you arrive there, you feel like not just your physical space plane, but also your mind changed. It happens automatically. And then secondly, environmental protection. I think there's going to be many speeches on this topic. It's very important. We can't say just because we are Buddhists that you can just close your eyes and meditate and it's all about your internal perception and everything is going to be fine. We're connected to this environment and we have a responsibility as humans to really care for the ecology. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about transforming one's living space. So this is done through, we have a tradition, sache, geomancy. In Chinese, you have Feng Shui. Anyway, in many different cultures, you have this idea of working with the land. So this is based on the concept that, our physical home, the landscape itself has an anatomy. Our physical homes also have anatomies. The temples have anatomies. Our offices have anatomies. So we have to, in the same way that we want to care for our bodies, we have to care for our space. And if we live in a house that's built, that's not respecting the natural environment, in the old days, we didn't have air conditioning, we didn't have heat. They had to build houses so that when the sunlight would enter, it would warm the house. So naturally, they were kind of forced to respect these rules of sache. But now, because we just turn on, if it's too hot, you turn on the air, too cold, you turn on the heat, turn on the lights when it's dark. People can build houses in any which way they like, and they're not in harmony with the environment. And then when you live in these houses, you might be sick, or you might be fighting with your family members, there might be disharmony. So there's, a lot of teachings on working with the 5 elements, working with the directions, the protectors of the land, and how to create a living space that's actually harmonious, so that the people who live inside or the people who enter inside, they feel well in their bodies, they sleep well at night, they feel basically good. So this is something that's very simple, and also there's very practical. There's a lot of remedies. If you live in a place that's not exactly right, there are things you can do to fix it. So this is not for advertising. This is for example, because I'm really not a scholar. I don't have too much to say on all these topics, so I wanted to share a personal example of how to create a space that follows sache, and how to create how to envision a little mini Pure Land in this world that we can experience here and now. So this is a center, Tibetan Medicine center called Pearland Farms. It was envisioned by my teacher, Dr. Nida, over here, and it was modeled after Tanaduk. So here you see Tanaduk on the top left. This is the Pure Land of the Medicine Buddha. So we chose the name to name after Tanaduk, and then we did a lot of work to try to model the place after this Pure Land. And then I just wanted to add that it's not an accident that we place this Pure Land in the epicenter of samsara. So it's right in the thick of it. Dr. Caroline talked about the 5 perfections, so I don't need to say again, but this is a Pure Land has this, it's a perfect place. All the plants that you consume are perfect medicines, can heal any kind of disease. There's nature, there's silence, there's beauty. In the center of this Pure Land is the perfect teacher. That's the Medicine Buddha. And then we have the good fortune, all of us here, to have received teachings in an unbroken lineage that they've come down. So when we receive teachings now, it's as if we are receiving them directly from the Medicine Buddha. And then the perfect students, all of us. So I want you to think that in any place where you're sitting at any particular moment, can you see if these 5 perfections are there? Or can you have the pure perception to really feel that you're in the center of this mandala? Perfect time is right now, and to receive the perfect teaching. So what we did, some of the things we did to try to create this Pure Land is, one, to just respect the aesthetics. Because Tanaduk means beautiful to behold. So if the place were very ugly, then you would have to have very, very, very pure perception to recognize it. But we try to find a place that's beautiful and peaceful by nature, where we build beautiful gardens, the architecture is harmonious. Then I wanted to talk really about this idea. You see in the chart there, it says in Tanaduk there was the Medicine Buddha taught to Buddhists, and he taught to non-Buddhists. So I've always found this really very interesting and very important, so that these beings who received the teachings, then they translated the language of the Medicine Buddha, and when they transmitted it in their own cultures, it will adapt. And so then you have these medical systems of Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, Daoist medicine, all different medicines, but really that they have the same root. So now, in the old days in Tibet and Bhutan, maybe everybody was Buddhist, but here, in the modern world, not so many Buddhists compared to all the other different religious cultures. So to extend that non-sectarianism even a little bit further, so that the people who come to receive the teachings come from really all walks of lives. And then the teachers, these great sages that we receive the teachings from, are also, they're masters of the traditional medicine, like the great rishis that are described in the text, but also masters of modern medicine. We have psychiatrists and doctors and anybody, who's holding real wisdom that can transmit information that's relevant for our times. These can be like our sages. And then, of course, Tanaduk, because it's the Pure Land of the Medicine Buddha, then it's all about healing. So when you step there, you should feel that you're being healed, not just by taking the pills. You can take the pills, of course, but also that you will receive Dharma teachings, and the Dharma teaching is like medicine. Music is medicine, the Sangha, the community is medicine, everything can be medicine. So just some examples of the Sache mandalas. And then I wanted to just say, in modern times, maybe you can't hike to these kind of pure lands in the modern world. Maybe you don't have to hike for 3 days in the mountains, but maybe you have to brave a really traffic jam and road rage and coming from the heart of the city to arrive in a peaceful pure land. So that's, again, in the sutra, when Shariputra thinks if the pure land, if pure lands are manifested from the pure perception and wisdom of the bodhisattvas, then how come this world is so ugly? Why is it full of so much suffering? Is it that Shakyamuni's vision was impure? And the answer is no, actually. Is it because the sun and moon are impure that those who are blind from birth do not see them? And then, of course, he says, no, the problem is the blindness. The problem is not the sun and the moon. So we live in these times. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of, ugliness on all kinds of levels, but really to work with our perception so that we can begin to see this world through a more pure way. That's just the nature of our human existence. Like the lotus in the mud, the diamond in the rough. So then the second level is about health, and we have all these doctors, they've talked about health and Sowa Rigpa, so I'm not going to talk this topic, but just to understand the importance of health. It's not, when your body is sick, it's very hard to experience this world in a pure way. So it's very important to respect the body as the temple, and to really do everything we can to stay healthy and also to promote health for others. In many medical traditions of the world, but of course in Sowa Rigpa, these are the particular methods that are used. And then lastly, this is really what I wanted to talk about, is more from the inner level of the subtle body and energy and mind. So here we are transforming our perception by transforming our subtle bodies. So we're doing different yogic practices, different meditations, receiving empowerments, and what that is doing is unblocking the channels, our energy channels, unblocking the knots, so that the lung energy can flow, so the mind can relax, and when all of this happens, our perception is shifted. So then our poisons, our inner poisons, just as Dr. Nita talked about, like the plants, the aconite and toxic plants are transformed into medicine, just so our inner poisons are transformed into wisdom through these tantric practices. And here you have just a few images of different subtle bodies that you can see, the Chinese acupuncture, a more Western sort of psychedelic image, but that we are our energy body. We're not just our physical body, and that our mental states and our happiness and even our compassion and everything is actually connected with our physiology. So this cannot be ignored. Okay, so I want to maybe we can do a little bit of practice. So this Meijong, we've been really lucky here. We've been receiving some instruction and teachings on the different yogas of Tibet, and so there's many different methods. This one is called Meijong. What's unique about it is that it's very, very easy. Those of you who came last night we did some jumping and beps, and you know that Tibetan yoga requires a lot of training. Also, Indian yoga doesn't look so easy to me. The sadhus who did a lot of training, a lot of renunciation, a lot of real work to get to the point where they can work with their bodies and their energies in this way. And even now, in these modern times, even though yoga has become so incredibly mainstream, and you can see so many yoga classes with hundreds of people practicing at once, but still there's this kind of idea that you have to be very fit, you have to be very young, you have to be very active to be able to do some of these postures. So this particular Meijong practice is unique in that it's very easy, it's very simple. If you can breathe, if you can touch your forehead, if you can touch your head, if you can reach your ear, you can do this practice. Even if you can't touch your ear, you can visualize. If you had a stroke and you're paralyzed, it really is a yoga for everyone. And that's kind of the gift of this great yogi, Bhutan Rinchen Drup, who shared the practice. He was a Kalachakra master, and he reminds me a little bit of Yuthok, the father of Tibetan medicine, who, even though he held this really vast view of Tantra and all the techniques of Tantra, he still dedicated his life to helping patients and giving medicine and helping people in a very direct and ordinary way. That was his work world. So Bhutan Rinchen Drup, even though he had all these vast teachings, he shared this yoga for people to, anybody to be able to do it, even if they weren't trained, even if they didn't practice in retreat, everybody could do this yoga. And in his text it describes very simple things, how the organs are connected, how by rubbing your ears you can benefit your kidneys, and all the, the simple connections. And then in connection to the Pure Lands that I've been discussing, this Meijong yoga as part of the Kalachakra tradition is very much connected with this idea of the body as being a microcosm. And 24 exercises in the Meijong connected to the 24 Pure Lands. So just look at the image I know the text is small, don't try to read the words, it's not important right now, but if you could just look at the image for a second, and then just close your eyes and see if any of those points on the body, do you feel any sensation in your chest, in your head, in one of your ears, your nose? Any kind of sensation can be tension, can be a pleasurable sensation, comfort, bliss. Then through the Meijong yoga, what we do is we activate these points. So there's lots of self-massage. So let's choose this one let's choose the ear. Let's go to Uddiyana, the birthplace of Padmasambhava, so the right ear. So we did at the beginning a little breathing. So again, the breathing in the unique part of this practice, it's done on a breath retention. So you inhale, you hold the breath in the belly, expand the belly. And then with your left hand, grab your right ear, just massage it. Back to center, and exhale. So the exhale, quick, shooting like an arrow. Switching. If you, like the mudra we did last night, if you're seated down, you can put your thumbs on your fourth finger, top of the hands on the groins, and if you're able to press down, straighten the arms, straightens the spine, chin tightly, slightly tucked, in the 7-point posture of Vajrayana. So between each exercise we come back to this center point. So again, inhale, switch the ear, opposite ear, rub. Exhale. One more time on both sides. This time let's do both at once. Cross the arms, inhale, grab your ears. Exhale. Switch. Good. This time inhale. Just tuck your chin to your chest, stretch back up. So while you're holding the breath, just gentle on the neck. If you need to, you can hold the back of your head, support your neck. This time rotate. So again, gentle with your neck. If you need to, you can always support the back of your head, otherwise rotating in both directions. Good. Inhale, shake out your shoulders. Exhale. Rotate. In both directions. Last time, just shrug up and down. Good, and last one, inhale, rub your hands together. Just rub any place of the body that you want. We rub the whole body in the Meijong practice, but we're all seated. Just rub any place in the body that you want. Rub your legs, rub your arms. Warm everything up. And on the last one, this time you release with your mouth. 2 more times. Your shoulders, your back, your kidneys, any yoga injuries you have, hiking injuries, shake it. This time. Last time. Shake. Okay. Bounce a little bit, just surely shake. And close your eyes. Come back again to the meditation we did at the beginning, the empty body, luminous body. It said that we have 72,000 energy channels in this body of ours. They get knotted, they get blocked, obscured. When the channels open through yoga practice or through deep meditation, our Lung energy flows. And then the mind relaxes and awakens. As Kala Rinpoche was saying yesterday, we have to feel our Dharma practice. It's difficult to feel just in the mind sometimes, so we use these tools. And open your eyes. Hopefully you feel a little bit different. So Bob Thurman, he says about this Meijong, you should imagine that you are your own, like you're a child and you're your own best little stuffed animal, and that you're squeezing your animal and rubbing your ears and rubbing your nose, and it's a very sweet and simple and easy practice to do. And then at the same time, it has so much really deep meaning. So I think in this, modern times, to have a kind of yoga that we can really share with everybody, don't have to be Buddhist. It's used in the medical tradition. If you're an acupuncturist or a doctor, you can teach a few of these exercises. And that's also for the patient to take their healing a little bit into their own hands, instead of just waiting for the doctor to give you the pill. You do something and you engage, and you're actively engaged in your own healing, and at the same time connect to you with your own Vajra body. Yeah, so in conclusion, so we talked body, we talked energy, and we talked mind. Sorry, that's wrong order. Body, energy, mind, or body, speech, and mind. These three, they can't be separated. You can't just be healthy and say that, oh, just because you eat the perfect diet and you take care of yourself and you get massage, that means you're going to be, that's going to help you progress on the spiritual path. It will help, but it's not going to get you enlightened. And likewise, you can't create the perfect living space and hope that that's going to do everything. So they really need to be connected. And then we say body, speech, mind, but here you have to add the planet. We are part of this continuum with the planet, and as I said, this ecological preservation and working, trying to clean the environment, clean the toxins. This is going to affect our bodies, it's going to affect our minds. And likewise, you don't have to feel powerless, because when you do your practice and when you do these kind of simple practices, you should also trust that there is also a ripple effect, and that our environment can be also cleansed and purified through our individual practice. So like all the great yogis and masters who are in the caves and they're praying and their bodhicitta, how that has a ripple effect. We are not at their level, but we can still, we can do these practices and have an impact on the environment. Finished. Thank you.